Welcome to Gamer's Chair, an expansion of the Gamer Grudge series. I'm your host, Cal, the human cheat code. And what I hope to accomplish with this series is for you guys to get to know one of your fighters better from the most recent episode of Gamer Grudge. And today, my guest is Mr. TJ Dex. Hey, TJ.
What's going on?
So you actually won a pretty big prize from the most recent episode of Gamer Grudge. So what can you tell us? Like, how'd you feel when you went into it? You didn't really know what the prize was going to be or anything, but we tried to hype it up a little bit, but not too much.
Oh yeah.
No, so how'd you feel when you got to it and you learned what the prize was?
That wasn't. I was waiting for something like that, and like it's awesome because I'm a huge fan of this before I even got a chance to get on it. And when you guys do these awesome changes to it as it grows, they're great. And like when you threw that out there, I'm like, okay, a prize. Maybe it's like getting to be into the next round, but something like getting to be into the next championship match after it's established, that'd be awesome. But something like this is definitely, because it throws a wrench into everything, because you guys built this championship up, and like I can come in there if Mac wins and just be like, you know what, Mac, I want that. Or I might not do something like that. It might wait around a little bit.
Yeah, so what TJ is alluding to is what he won was actually the source code. So I'm going to go over that really quickly again. He won the source code by winning the PvP round against Edward, I think it was, right? So it was you and Edward at the end. And it was pretty close. Like, Edward started out with the hot answer, and then your answer at the beginning wasn't that great, but then your rebuttal is what sealed it for you, man. Like, I love your rebuttal. That was great. It was more passionate and stuff like that. So you won the source code, which is the ability to hack the Gamer Grudge champion. So as you know, we have our finals coming up, and there's going to be a champion crowned. But you yourself have the ability to hack the Gamer Grudge champion. And what that entails is allows you to go directly to a PvP championship fight. So you're actually glitching the system. And you got to know that this expires in 1 year, so you got to think about using it soon.
Oh, yeah.
Like we said, you can use it anytime, like when the champion's fighting, or even they're just in the chat in the actual episode. So it'll be interesting to see if Mac wins. I don't know who's judging that episode for the championship fight. Hopefully someone very unbiased. But it'll be cool if Mac wins. Like he's on, like he has a bullseye on him anytime. Like you could probably put it in anytime, right, TJ? Oh, you're actually on mute, TJ. Let me see if I can unmute you. I don't know how you got to mute.
Oh, sorry.
Right, yeah, what are you saying?
It's crazy that this championship has like 3 great fighters. Now you got Mac, who is essentially the gamer, man. He's the game fixer. Kim is like human facts. It's weird. I don't think I've ever seen her look at like a note, or unless they're like posted up in front of her, because she just spitfires, boom, boom, boom. And then Tom, along with Kimber, those two, and the tenacity they bring to the table. Because so with all 3 of these fighters, it's tough, because whoever wins, I'm going to either have to really strategize when to use it. It's like you do want like the typical WWE Money in the Bank. Wait till the end of a match. Wait until they're beat up and they're just done. Because after these matches take a lot out of you, just like thinking and talking. And so if you hit someone at the end, that's great. Or you could completely just start from the beginning and just catch someone right off the guard right before a match starts, and everyone would be like, what? Like, how did that happen?
And then you'd have to like fight. You've had to prepare the answer. You know what? We could have you guys come in. Like you can come in every meeting that we have and give your answers as well, because you never know if you're going to steal the title.
Yeah.
Or you could do the honorable thing like John Cena did and do it at the beginning. You know how the PvP is normally PvP, but if you add, it'll be PvP versus VP. So it'll be 3 people. I mean, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I'd be sneaky like Edge, like how Edge pulled it off. You even got that Edge look with the beard and all that.
Yeah, I got to go for it. But I got to be smart about that.
Come at the end. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like really, really hyped when you won, because they're like, TJ's a great fighter. He always has great answers and stuff like that. So I'm glad you won, because I mean, not against anything anybody else, but like they were the fighters themselves, the people who were going to fight for the championship, were really excited. Like when they heard who was fighting for this prize, and they're like, well, when they find out what the prize was, they're like, oh, we're glad TJ won, because like he's one of those people that we'd love to fight against. So it's gonna be great to see what happens and how you pull it off. And I'm hoping this works. So there's we're trying this thing. And
it's great ideas that you guys come up with each time. It blows me away. I'm just like, all right, this is every time it's something different. And then I saw with the new fight, you had like the declaration round. It cleans it up and then makes it also fly a little bit like faster and smoother, which is awesome.
Yeah, so we do have another big fight tonight. I'll get to, or a little bit. I'll get to that at the end of the match. But or end of the interview. But let's talk about what we're doing today. We're doing an interview. We wanted to get know you better, because like you won this big prize. So let's see what you can tell us about yourself and your gaming experience. So my first question to you is, what got you into gaming?
Oh man, growing up, I had that cousin, which I'm pretty sure everyone has, who has every system, every game. He had the 101. He was like Lucas from The Wizard, the Power Glove. He knew every game, and like I would just go to their house. Like we got along pretty well, but he was also somewhat of a bully. So I'd just go to their house, play a couple games, have to like watch him do his thing, and then just squeeze in there to get a game of like Battletoads in or something like that. But one day. This is just like this is what got me into it. My dad and my uncle come home. They're giddy like 12-year-old kids because they got the new Sega Genesis and Mortal Kombat. They were just excited to play for themselves. But like me, I'm pretty sure I was like, 5 or 6 or something like that. My mom wanted to destroy them because that was like the big thing because Mortal Kombat was so violent. So like them coming home with a system basically for themselves, it's for the kids, but for themselves was like what got me into it. Because once my dad got off the system and stopped playing Mortal Kombat, Sonic and me were just on adventures all day.
So I guess that leads me to my second question. I guess that's the answer. What's your first console? Is that your first console?
First console was a Sega Genesis, which was weird because we went backwards. We got the Sega off that, and then somehow I'm assuming probably like a second down hand-me-down. We got a Nintendo, and that's when like Super Mario 3 came out because that was the very first Nintendo game I played was Super Mario 3. And then I got into all the older games other than playing it, at someone else's house and getting into like Double Dragon and stuff like that. But then the movie Wizard and like seeing Nintendo and how big Nintendo still was at a certain point, I put Sega Genesis aside for a little while and went on to Nintendo, and then just grew from there.
So your first console to yourself was your Nintendo, or would you say it was your Genesis?
I would probably say to myself without me having to like fight my little brother for it, or like my dad, which is, it's just funny in itself, is like definitely probably the Nintendo. That was the one I could like wake up in the morning, go downstairs, it's still on pause from Super Mario 3, and I was trying to get the warp whistle and the whole nine.
And that's the answer you use, right?
It's crazy because it's between Mortal Kombat and the warp whistle, the blood code and the warp whistle. But like one of them was like very just like one note, you know what I mean? Blood. It's dope. But
so what is your fondest gaming memory?
This was different for me because I mean it's don't want to come off as a sad answer, but my parents are divorced, and like growing up, you split time between two houses. So on the weekends, we would go with my dad, and it was just like the really awesome thing. You would get like couple Domino's pizzas, a Pizza Hut with a cheese in the crust, and we go to Blockbuster, and like me, my brother and sister each got to pick one game and one movie apiece, and you just spent the weekend with your dad just goofing around, eating junk food and playing video games. And those are my fondest memories because me and my brother every single time would get Super Nintendo's like WWF Raw and just do Royal Rumble and just like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. And like, you can only do so many moves in that game, but it's so much fun just to like throw someone against the ropes and then just time it perfectly. We throw them over your shoulders out the rink. Like those are my fondest memories, like playing video games. Cause like, my brother's 3 years younger than me. It's just awful. I know that off the top of my head. So like there was a time where I was just a bully to him and like, we didn't hang out, but times like this where my dad lived in a different town, you could just get together with him, sit together, and there wasn't any distraction. You just hung out with your brother and played games.
So instead of bullying him in real life, you bullied him in Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah, but it's crazy. My brother is like the gamers. He was like the kid that would wake up at like 5 a.m. probably to beat me to the system, and he would just be like, just for hours and hours and hours. He wouldn't look at anybody. I don't know if he went to the bathroom or not, but he was like that kid. Like, he was just like on it, in it. And he was the kid from The Wizard, as I mentioned like a million times. I love that movie.
I used to watch the movie. Do you remember this show back in the day? I think it was kind of like based on The Wizard, but not really. It's like you go through like it's like something, maybe Eureka's Arcade or something, but like
Nick Arcade on like Nickelodeon.
Maybe it was on in the mornings, but I didn't have cable back then. And like you had like, a Power Glove too, and you can go at the end pick like what video games you want from the wall or something.
Oh, those were the best things. That was like almost like those super toy runs and stuff like that, where you just run through the thing and just grab what you can. I wish. But
it was a video game based show back when they had Nintendo only, I think, and it was when I was young, so I don't know if you you remember that, but like it was something like that.
They had a lot of shows like that with Nintendo, where it was just like Nintendo basically had their own like Disney, basically.
So I guess we're gonna go into the rapid fire segment now, and then we'll come back with 3 more questions. So I'm gonna give you 10 quick choices, and you just tell me what comes to your head first, or whatever you feel is more appropriate to you. Yeah. First question: console or PC?
Console.
Nintendo or Sega?
Oof. Nintendo.
Sony or Microsoft?
Oof. Let's go Microsoft.
Um, RPGs, so role playing games or first person shooters.
Role playing games.
And then I know you're a fan of one of these series, so I want to see. I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is going to be here, but the Fallout series or the Elder Scroll series?
Oh, you.
I didn't think it was going to be this hard.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go Fallout just because of the more of games with New Vegas and 4 and 3.
See, I wasn't expecting that. I really thought you'd pick Elder Scrolls because your whole Skyrim and the Dragon Ball.
I play Skyrim every single day. I haven't stopped. I've also rebought the game like 5 times. My buddy says that I'm the only one who keeps keeping them in business right now. But Fallout has the better games all around.
All right, moving on. Madden or NHL?
Oh, another one. NHL.
NHL. Okay. NBA 2K or MLB The Show?
NBA 2K.
Call of Duty or Halo?
Call of Duty.
Mario or Sonic?
I love you, Mario, but I'm going Sonic.
And the final question: Resident Evil or The Last of Us?
Resident Evil. I love Last of Us. That was the game that I wish Resident Evil 5, 6, and I'm getting into Biohazard now, but I wish those is what those were. Last of Us was a great title and loved it. But
so by Biohazard, I know Biohazard series is Resident Evil, but you mean like the new Resident Evil 7, right?
Yeah, Resident Evil 7, yes.
So if you try that in VR, I don't know if you have a VR headset or not, but if you try that in VR, that thing is nuts.
That's what my buddy said. He says it's so scary. Like it's like basically like being in like Texas Chainsaw House, but like the pop scares and everything like that, like they take you out.
I mean, I played The Kitchen. I don't know if when you buy the VR system, you get like a demo disc, and one of the things is called The Kitchen, and you don't know. I didn't know what it was until I played it, and that ends up being the preview for that Resident Evil game. But that thing is so scary. You hear stuff behind you and stuff. It's fun.
Stuff like actually, that. I won't be able to sleep for days.
I actually had videotapes of my friends playing that and their reactions to it, and it was hilarious. They just like threw off my headset. I'm like, like $400. You're like throwing it on the ground, like they were so scared. It was so funny.
That's great stuff. Like just catching moments like that that's the good stuff, man.
All right, so let's move along with the actual real questions. What is your best gaming accomplishment?
I'm actually gonna throw back to Resident Evil because I beat the game in like 2.5 hours in one day, which like to a lot of people like blew their minds. I know you get the whole like all your stats at the end of a game and stuff like that, but I like stayed home from school one day purposely, and I lived right next to a Toys R Us, and like my parents, they were pretty like they went to work. They didn't care that I was home alone being like a 10-year-old kid, which sounds awful, but I was like Macaulay Culkin. I was troublesome, but I acted like I was sick. They went to work. I took my allowance, walked over to Toys R Us, bought Resident Evil 2, had to like argue with the guy for like 20 minutes because it was obviously like mature, and like he was like, I can't sell this to you, but like I was in that Toys R Us every weekend, every day. He was like the guy in Stranger Things 2 eating the Cheetos. Like he knew us, and he was like just trying to be like that adult guy, but eventually I talked him into it and he gave it to me. Went home, beat it, didn't sleep for days because it petrified the shit out of me. And after that, I couldn't play it again just because of how fast I beat it. So I just would watch people beat it and like watch people play because it's such like a cinematic experience. So Resident Evil 2 was my greatest, accomplishment.
So that was the A side game, or the whole entire A and B?
Whole side. I like part of the Claire thing was difficult for me. So it was probably, if you like round out, it's probably like three something like that, 3.5 hours. But for me being that age, of blowing through that game like that,
10 years old, doing the game, and like that's what the S clearance is. That what you get when you do that?
Yeah.
Because you have only a certain amount of saves, right? And you can't use health
so
pack.
Many saves, and then you got to do it on like the extra hard or whatever that is. And at that point, I was like, I can't do this because it was already an anxiety attack as it was for me.
Yeah,
so
people who do that can do that is ridiculous. I wish I could do that. Like I wasn't that good. I always had to save and use so many health packs in Resident Evil. I'm not like that, but that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool thing. Like my buddy who was the Resident Evil guy, like he was the one I watched him play it. Maybe that's why I was so good at it, because I watched people play it, because to me it was too scary to play. And then that one day, I don't know, I just woke up and felt like I could do this, like just accomplish your fear. Went into it, beat it. But I also knew things already. So maybe it was kind of like having your own little game guide in your head because I've seen things about it. But there were certain parts that I never saw that was just – the puzzles in that thing were – just the whole game, Resident Evil 2 is great. If you haven't played it, guys, go get it. Oh, and I was going to say in the fight, PlayStation 4 announced that day of the fight or the day before the fight that they're rebooting Resident Evil 2 for PlayStation 4.
Oh, because that was one of the things we were debating about.
Yeah.
Remake.
So I meant to say it and I was trying to do it, but I forgot. And then, you forget the things in that fight. So,
like, it's interesting that you say that you like to watch. It's like, there's a lot of games I like to watch. Resident Evil was one of those games I like to watch because it's like a movie. You watch someone play it. And like the movie, another game like that was definitely more of a cinematic game was Until Dawn, which is one of the answers people used recently on Gamer Grudge as well. And like, I like watching people play certain types of games because it's more like a cinematic and fun to watch.
Yeah. And the cutscenes, like with a lot of these games too, are basically like these really almost live action animated films. So it really kind of, you just sit next to somebody because there's like, you can only sit next to somebody so long during playing Sonic in a side scroller because one, you want to get into it, where you're like arguing like, you died, it's my turn, this and third. But you can sit there and watch these games and have a really good time just being just being the voyeur and watching it.
So what, now that you're saying like you want to play Biohazard, I know that's already out, but what future releases are you looking forward to?
Now for Resident Evil 2, I'm looking forward to that. Every year I always look forward to the new Maddens, new NHL. I don't play MLB games too much. I'm more of like a sports guy. I like my sports games. I really wish they would like re-release a new Fight Nights and like really dive back into boxing. But boxing, the whole dying art thing, I don't like the UFC games. They're kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to see games like that. But I would like to see, I'm not too up to date on like newer games that are coming out. But every year I look forward to the newer NHLs, newer Maddens, the Skyrim, all like the DLCs and stuff like that. Those are awesome to get into. So that's what I look forward to. Like it's crazy how expensive games are these days. So I'm either like trading in something to get something new. So like your gaming like shelves kind of just like shrink eventually for me, because there's no point to hold on to like Madden from 11 or NHLs from like 2009. So those are like the teams of games I look forward to.
One of the games I hang out into and I try to still play once in a while when I can is the 2K, the football 2K ones, because they Madden bought the rights to the football franchise for the 25 years or whatever it was, which is coming up soon. I think eventually it's coming up in a few years. But that 2K game is really doing well, and they started selling it only for $20, which really like got that all the fans. It was a superior game in my opinion. Now Madden's come up to that standard, but this was like 15 years ago. Where it was ridiculously good, and no one really knew about it. And they started selling it for less, and that was such a better game. And you're the ESPN. As soon as they got the ESPN rights to it, that was even better.
It was perfect. Like I know it's one of the questions called. I'm not gonna get in say my answer, but like 2K. I didn't like Madden when I was in middle school because it was like really boxy and more of like a cartoony game, like because you did all those cheat codes and like the gameplay didn't look good. 2K and 2K1 and even 2K2 with like Randy Moss on the covers, those football games were like a complete football game with the fantasy drafting you could do, the in-depth customizing of players, and just they had every player, they had like the celebrations in the end zone. Everything looked clean. So like even with the NBA 2Ks and the MLB 2Ks, like those were all great. NHL 2Ks I didn't really play because I always think EA had a hand up on the hockey.
Like I feel like for NBA 2K has the better game.
Yeah, because NBA Live was kind of
NBA Live used to be everything until
everything. They had the dunk contest and everything.
But then like I think for NBA it was 2K, for NFL it was 2K until now it's only Madden.
Yes.
For MLB, I actually enjoyed the MVP baseball better than the 2K series. I think.
Yeah, I play those a lot. I played a little bit of baseball growing up. Now I'm not too into it. But like my whole thing was like playing high school football. I would have like NCAA and make my high school team because they had like a really good customizable thing. You just make all your buddies and you put in. I did that with baseball a lot with not the show, the one you were just talking of.
The MVP baseball.
Yeah, so like I would do that, and like I'd play that for a while, but I don't know, like I didn't know you had to have more than one pitcher, so like you're at every game. So I'm like, okay, I'll stick to football and hockey.
And you're right, for hockey, like you were saying, NHL was better, the EA game version than.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I would have win like game of the year, like 4 or 5 years in a row since 2011 on, and it just. The mechanics of it, it's weird because like the older games where you just kind of see your guys like get the puck and go and like they just shoot in the net and you just kind of hope for a goal. This like the
spinoramas and dekes and
you
can do freestyle sticking and all that now. It's so in depth,
Yeah, and like you just and like your thumbs, you got to have like extra long thumbs and everything because like you can do everything with the stick now, so it's crazy. I learned more hockey from that, like playing physically than in the game.
And I'm not a big soccer fan, but when talking about the franchises, that's one actually good competition you have is between FIFA and I think it's Power 11 Soccer. They're both always really highly acclaimed games, so they're watch. So I don't know anything about soccer, but I usually get FIFA once in a while to play with my friends as like a party. I'm not a soccer guy at all, but when my friends come over, it's a good game we all can play because they all enjoy soccer. So
yes, and it's like one of those things. Like I'll do the World Cup when it gets into big things. Like I don't watch too much of like the English Premier Leagues or anything like that. But FIFA, those games, like you were just saying, it's almost like a Mario Party thing. Like they're just fun with parties. You put it on, you do one-on-ones. You can have a couple people come in if you got the extra controllers and stuff like that. So yeah, FIFA is always a great fun party game. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about FIFA.
And then I think I'm probably gonna wait till Black Friday because I think all these games are gonna go on sale for $30 or $25. And I'm gonna probably pick up maybe the new Madden. I don't know about Madden, but I'm definitely gonna get NHL because the Devils are actually good this year. They're probably not gonna get any love in the video game. I know that, but I'm still gonna get it because I got my new look Devils and all that. So,
well, I like the one thing I was gonna say about the NHL games and like how you say it because like the Flyers have been kind of booty for the last couple of years, and like they're just starting just like your Devils, like with the draft picks and developing players and everything are coming up. So my favorite thing about these NHL games is like sure in that first year if you do like your franchise with your Devils, like they might be that way, and you're controlling a lot of it, so you might be able to put on. But each year, the development of the players is so on point. Like his year, I'm not pronouncing his name right, probably. Yeah. He'll probably start off on like 85, and by your second year, he's gonna be like 96. That dude is so on point. And then you have also like a great nucleus, and Snyder's a brick wall.
You know what's crazy? Because like I'm glad you brought that up because like things like the progression system. I think 2K, the NFL 2K game, is what introduced it. I'm not sure if I'm correct about that, but I'm pretty sure they're the ones that had the player progression system where they get better as the years go or worse.
Through potential and all that.
And if they don't do well. And then eventually they took it to another level where you can have practices and then for that week they'll do a little bit better if you train certain like
give little tasks,
strength and all that, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm like it's pretty cool to see that.
Like that's what you get because you can give them potential. You could get a player in like the 6th round of your video game draft who ends up being your star player. So like stuff like that is what makes these sports games fun because the replay value, you could end up being in like 2035. You might not have any players that are in the NFL now, but you drafted that team. It's fun.
So yeah, now that we're talking about like how games have developed and all that, what do you see as the future of gaming?
It's kind of crazy, like you were stating earlier with the VR. Like eventually, it's gonna be like full-bodied. Like you get a suit with your console. It'll probably end up being like a thin little stick you put on top of your TV, and you get this full latex suit. And it sounds weird and freaky, but I guarantee something like that's gonna come where you're just in the game. It's gonna be like the Oasis and Ready Player One. Like it's gonna eventually get to that. How pricey is it gonna be? Probably pretty out there, unless it becomes like such a big thing that they can just mass produce and everyone can get one. But that's what I see gaming going. It's definitely going to be full body VR within like 15-20 years. I'm sure Kim Hanley has a hand in something like that eventually. I bet you if her and Zambino got together, they could probably develop something like that.
Something in Zambino's factory, you make it. And Kim's idea, Zambino's craftsmanship and all that. Yeah. Have you seen those videos of the people who have the VR goggles on and they're in like this little like thing and they're running on a treadmill because that's how they run in the game? Like they have that. Like they have that now. It's not like everywhere, obviously.
Does it hold you up on like things? I feel like you would definitely fall.
Yeah, there's a harness around you.
Okay.
So you're kind of like not floating, but you can't like run off the thing. And there's a ring around you, and you're on a treadmill and you're running. So you're running through the game as if you're running with a gun, and you have a gun that you aim, just like the thing for VR and all that, for PlayStation VR and all that. It's really like innovative now, and like I can't see that in a home, but that'll be crazy when it gets to that point.
You could, there's definitely gonna be like an arcade where you just go in. There's probably like 20 of those treadmills, and you could play a bunch of things like from hard to war. Like, I wonder if like you're doing a horror game, how hard it would be to turtle up if you're just scared, like in the fetal position, and that. Just like no.
The first time I played VR was a long time ago, maybe 20 years. I don't even know, but maybe 20 years ago. In this place called Sports World, it's a giant arcade thing, and they had these two big VR things. You play one-on-one PvP, like you walk around as polygon people, and like it just it saw where you moved and you could see your friends like through the thing, but it's just a polygon figure. It wasn't any like what do you call it, texturization or graphics or anything. It was just a block, and like you shoot each other with a little fake gun, and it was pretty cool. But that was like, and it was like $5 to play for like 30 minutes. Wow. Like something like that is ridiculous, but it was fun, and now it's so much. Now you just do that in your house, and there's like graphics and everything, so it has really improved. So
I'm trying to think that movie Blank Check, where the kids doing like the crazy VR with like the boxing and stuff like that, like. that it's weird because that's been around since forever. Like even Virtual Boy, which isn't a great virtual experience, but like they were doing the full head goggle things for a while. It's crazy.
So I mean, when we get to that point, we're gonna look back at this interview and be like, oh man, we're talking about like what could happen, and you know, that's gonna be maybe our next interview will be like that. We'll be like working on that, not even like this.
Virtually standing next to each other.
Yeah, we'll be playing each other in a game like that, running around and doing an interview as we play. That's gonna be awesome. But I want to thank TJ for being here. Where can we find you? What have you been up to? What have you been doing?
Yeah, man, you good guys. Anyone want to talk to me? Anyone wants to have me on anything, you could DM me, slide in the DMs at TJ Dex over at Twitter. As of right now, I am working and writing on some stuff for Movie Squad YouTube. You guys can check that out. It's I haven't posted anything in a while, but it reviews up there from a while back during the early, May. I got the review from a couple months ago. But yeah, you guys can find me there, and on Gamer Grudge, check out the last episode with Luke Christ and Geo Metroid, Corey, and Edward, and be ready for me to use that thing at some point in time. I'm not going to tell you when, guys, but it's definitely going to come very soon.
So you're definitely going to see TJ's face soon, because he's going to be maybe ruining someone's championship dreams after they win it. Could be right when they win it. He'll be popping right in on the screen and fighting them directly. And you know, it's not a guaranteed win. You know, it's not like WWE where it's scripted. So we're gonna see, can he have a good fight? One of us is gonna have to come up with a question that way in case Mac wins. I might need to pose a question, because you never know.
Oh yeah. I have a couple ready just in case we have that whole thing again where we could extra me just go back and forth nonstop.
Oh god, that was one of the greatest comeback answers. I think that still was the greatest answer.
That guy had a great answer. I was just like, wow, okay.
I know. And so for everyone who's watching, I'm probably gonna post this right now. So whoever sees this episode right now can join us in a little bit, because we're doing a special weekend episode of Gamer Grudge, and we're gonna have Charlie Feldman on. So that's gonna be fun to see. And then you could see me on weekly on Gamer Grudge, as well as Aftermath, my wrestling show, which we're gonna have an episode on Monday. And then also Flashpoints, a new show I'm doing about the Flash. So I'm Cal, the Human Cheat Code. I want to thank TJ once again for joining us, the first to sit in the gamer's chair. You can find me at Viren Deja Vu. And until next time, game on.
Later, bud.